Zuzalu is the first of its kind pop-up community experiment that ran in Montenegro between March and May this year. Just some background about me. I'm Janine. I am a co-creator of Zuzalu, among many others, and am a Gitcoin steward. I spend a lot of time getting super excited about different funding mechanisms, about different incentive models, and new social infrastructure that crypto is allowing in the world to help communities that are IRL thrive. And perhaps some of you are pondering, what was Zuzalu? And what is the lifespan of Zuzalu and where is it going? The initial experiment succeeded. We attracted a brave group, and why I say brave is because those that came got nothing more than a PDF that said, hey, come to Montenegro. This group was super excited to just share and have a shared learning, innovate, and enhance progress together. Zuzalu is on a mission to foster a global network of communities to advance humanity by creating playgrounds at the intersection of free and open technology, health, and social innovation. Zuzalu was super fun, but it wasn't just about having a good time in Montenegro. It was an intentional experiment of building social infrastructure conducive to accelerate regulatory progress, learning, and innovation. The experiment was created by concentric circles of people willing to contribute. While the concept stemmed from Vitalik, as mentioned, and a lot of you guys know about, the community, rather than Vitalik, spearheads Zuzalu. The first experiment was brought to life by a core team of 8, so it was a very small group that helped bring it to life. But the lines between the core team and the community at Zuzalu were blurred in terms of how much all the people there were volunteering their time to give back and make it something that was so magically special. So don't get me wrong, the team behind Zuzalu is important to drive it forward, but it is the community that makes Zuzalu happen. It's the strength of this network that enables the growth and flourishing of what we've built already and what we'll continue to build in the future. Hi. Marine over here was one of the core team who was incredible and did so much. And here's a whole bunch of people walking in. So we're sort of getting to this place now of, hi guys, we're getting to this place now of like, what does Zuzalu actually address? Like, what problem does it really address? I hear the term life is hard way too often. I believe this is because we've moved further away from living in tribes and much closer to this individualistic lifestyle that we all know and live in today. Humans have progressed from nomadic tribes, where we spent all of our time being in community, to essentially moving towards agricultural societies, where we sacrificed community to have more land to grow more crops on our farms. Following that, we had the Industrial Revolution. And with that, work environments were even further from home. So now at this point, people had to leave their families and isolate even further. All along this journey, very few people felt that they had a choice other than to follow these cultural norms. Fast forward to today, and we've got this incredible world of remote work, this grandeur of flexibility and freedom, of being able to work how and when we want in whatever capacity. However, with this freedom has come a heightened sense of isolation. Everyone here has had that day when you wake up and beeline straight to your computer, spend the entire day working, and only really pick your head up at 8 p.m. to realize that you haven't had a single conversation in person that day. Who here has had that experience? Way too many hands up. With this incredible sense of flexibility in remote work, we've sort of had this easy trap of isolation that's been associated with it. Loneliness is rampant. A study shows that over a third of people age 45 and above are lonely. And hi guys, good to see you. And over a quarter of people age 65 and above are socially isolated. This social isolation escalates the risk of premature death, rivaling that of physical inactivity, heavy smoking. Come on in, guys. Welcome, welcome. Really good to see a bunch of Zuzaluians in the crowd. We're just going through how terrible loneliness is, and how social isolation escalates the risk of premature death, rivaling risks linked to smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. Loneliness is not just a feeling. It affects our health and lifespan. And it's not only how we work that's affecting our health. The environments we live in, the food that we eat, have resulted in chronic disease increasing 700% since 1935 in the US. And while these health outcomes are staggering, another less known fact is when looking at technological patents and papers, disruptive tech and science has actually been decreasing the past 50 years. These facts aren't here to scare you. In fact, I was hoping, and I still am hoping, this is a presentation that's super fun and invigorating and inspiring. But I do hope they lead you to question why and what environments are we living in and building that contribute to the lack of fulfillment, happiness, health, and progress. We've all only got one life to live. What do you want to change to make every minute count? More than ever, it seems we're hungry for a sense of community and connection. Yet coordination of sustainable communities through experimentation is currently absent. We're better versed in executing short-term pop-up events like conferences and meetups, and longer-term institutions like universities, as well as charging significant rates for these. We've yet to master the creation of small, long-term, tribe-like communities that make a positive impact. The formation of community alone requires time and complex coordination, and only after a community is formed can you assess the collective intelligence of that community and the individuals in it to understand how can you as a collective make a heightened impact. So as a result, this experimentation is risky, it's expensive, it's intangible to measure. And in fields like this, we're just not necessarily seeing this community expansion and community experimentation that could potentially help drive tech, health, regulatory, and cultural innovation. Vitalik sought to probe this uncharted area with Zuzalu by creating an experimental social environment to expedite progress in the fields of tech, health, regulatory, and cultural innovation. And it sure was an exciting experiment. So given that, let's dive in to the first Zuzalu experiment. Zuzalu was a unique 2-month-long pop-up community in Montenegro. We hosted over 200 residents full-time. Put up your hand if you were there. Woohoo! And welcomed over 700 visitors. We would have loved more. The community encompassed various interest areas, including Ethereum infrastructure, public goods, ZK technology, longevity, and philosophy, and included individuals and cultures from across the globe. We wanted to create Zuzalu into a fun playground of learning and growth. We prioritized a few key aspects of leveraging physical infrastructure of an isolated town, building a strong set of cultural values, and social infrastructure that encouraged community empowerment, collaboration, and a healthy lifestyle, all with the hope of potentially accelerating project development. So let's start with double-clicking on the physical infrastructure. Every decision trickles down from choosing a location. One of our key strategies was to house people within proximity and in close proximity of one another in a comfortable yet isolated location. Living in proximity and establishing rituals enhanced serendipitous connections and lowered logistical overhead. The day-to-day interactions further nurtures trust and a collaborative mindset. Building a strong culture from the get-go was another really important element. All of those who just want to be operators and keep your heads down, hate to break it to you, but vibes and culture really matter. We built a culture founded on authentic kindness, personal growth, and mutual respect. This environment facilitated trust and collaboration within the community, and while allowing room for resilience and flexibility and just continued testing and iteration. People could create new applications, could host events, could start activities, all in a very safe space with 200 supporters for a full 2 months. Imagine having that many people cheering for you and helping your project get off the ground. In addition, healthy rituals were an essential part of Zuzalu. Regular activities such as daily breakfasts, cold plunges, the run club, community dinners, saunas, and sports nights became part of our weekly routine. These rituals and the health-focused environment fostered a mindset of personal and collective growth. There are few cities in the world where you can be surrounded by growth-minded people by default. Take San Francisco or New York, for example. There is significant density of talent and a ton of shared interest in building and creating new things and progressing tech. Yet the cost of living, regulation, just general community sentiment and the infrastructure that people are living in terms of getting from one side of the city to see one friend to the other side of the city to see someone else doesn't necessarily support this heightened sense of community and collaboration. Zuzalu aims to replicate and elevate the experience of top-tier cities, acting as fertile soil for people to feel empowered, and have a sense of independence to create, while an opportunity to easily collaborate where needed to amplify and accelerate impact. One such digital tool to help create Zuzalu as a grassroots initiative was Zuzalu.city. This was a website where Zuzaluians could manage and contribute to the event schedules without going through any of the organizers. This gave the community autonomy and led to a diverse range of events that would never have happened if the core team centralized and organized everything. We empowered different sub-event owners to host weekly conferences and workshops on specific topics of interest. These served as points of connection for collaboration and sparked ideas among participants in various fields, from AI to longevity, network states, and ZK technology, among others. And this learning momentum did not stop with the educational events. Nearly every week emerged a new hackathon, giving people many iteration cycles for incorporating learning, working with new people and new teammates, and being able to get feedback on their ideas in a really low-stress environment. These hackathons also morphed from two-day hackathons, like we all normally know, to longer-term ones because the Zuzalu environment allowed for it. More than 70 projects emerged, and a number of these are ongoing today, many of which people have switched over to full-time working on. These projects, along with other updates, with discussions around problems and solutions for the community, were shared in weekly town halls. This was an event to create some sense of consistency in our weeks and create a learning-focused environment where the community was solving and sharing ideas together. And while the Zuzalu playground was hacked together in 2 months of planning, from day one, it adopted the years of work Ethereum has put into developing a culture and incentives around a collective, positive-sum mindset. I doubt the event would have been nearly as successful with 200 people from 5 different big tech giants. Community and collaboration is in the Ethereum DNA. It's something really important to remember. The community that emerged because of all of these factors felt slightly utopic. And not only did we create this incredible Zuzalu in our collective environment, but we built a strong relationship with Montenegro. The openness of the Montenegrin government to supporting new ideas and progress in visa regulation, crypto law, and longevity was truly incredible and hugely positive. We positioned ourselves well and found natural points of collaboration that included events such as a government day, weekly farmers markets, a Crypto 101 event that we hosted, as well as going to the university and mentoring some of the students there. This community-based framework and the positive relationship that we made with Montenegro laid the groundwork for meaningful project development. Zupass exemplifies such a project. It truly revolutionized ticketing through a zero-knowledge proof application developed in partnership with the 0x Park team. That team was instrumental to bringing this to life. The application enhanced security, added convenience, anonymity, and established an identity layer for the Zuzalu community. Zupass also spurred the growth of other projects, within its ecosystem, such as Zoo Stamps, which was an NFC stamp collection wallet based on events that you attended, Zoocast, an anonymous Twitter for Zuzalians, and Zoopoll, which became our governing polling app that was all anonymous voting. This work has fueled ZeroXPark's commitment to develop the proof-carrying data framework that was developed in March. And with Zuzalu's aid, we've accelerated the framework's transition from a research concept to a product in less than 4 months. If anyone is super excited about proof-carrying data frameworks, please reach out to the ZeroXPark team. They are looking to hire. Additional projects such as Sentient AI for river ecology and the Longevity Genie, a personal health data LLM, showed the outputs of the cross-pollination between all the different areas at Zuzalu that might not have come out if we'd just had single tracks of interest while there. And while these immediate outcomes were impactful, Zuzalu's impact is far-reaching, with effects that'll only unfold over time. 90% of participants from Montenegro stated they left feeling inspired to make a positive impact in the world. Already, we've seen plans for public goods residencies, sustainable funding partnerships, as well as new conferences at the intersection of crypto, consciousness, and network states. Zuzalu's experiment shows the need for more than just new ideas on coordination and network states. We need many more experiments of IRL communities with friendly social, legal, and tech environments that promote well-being and accelerate progress, all while having fun. We need more than just a few Zuzalu experiments to push the social infrastructure and cultural change forward. We need people in this audience to be inspired to build things that are similar, to build residencies, to share ideas, to build collectives. Community really matters. We're really excited about our open source playbook that anyone can now access, use, and fork, and create something of your own. We'd like to see more experiments. If you want to contact us, you can reach out to myself on Twitter or Telegram and find a number of Zuzalians in the audience. We are an IRL community first and an online one second, so excuse us if we're slow to respond. And lastly, a massive thank you to the whole Zuzalu community. There are so many of you in this audience, and that makes me so excited. It wouldn't have happened without you. A special thanks to Vitalik for truly being game for a completely different crazy experiment where outcomes are hard to measure. Milos, Alana, Nicole, Marine, Lawrence, and Vincent, as well as our local Montenegro team, this would not have happened without your guys' work in and out for 2 months straight. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and I hope you all feel inspired to do something of your own to build IRL community.
Janine, do you have time for a Q&A? A couple of questions? A big round of applause for Janine Léger. Well, we have 5 minutes, so if you have any question for Janine.
So, question, what was the hardest part about launching Zuzalu, and what did you learn from that?
The hardest part was likely the time frame that we had. We only really pulled it together in 2 months before it happened, so it was really just time and sleep, or the lack of it. while I was getting married.
Hey, could you talk about the funding structures for Zuzalu and what you imagine working for the future and so on?
Yeah, thank you for that. We initially had Vitalik fund it, and we made back a third of the funds, where just based on people actually paying for their accommodation. What we did try to emphasize was we don't want to have something that is more expensive than living in a top-tier city, which meant that we didn't cover all the costs. And then we tried a really cool experiment at the end with doing something with hypercerts, and the idea of people being able to retroactively fund the team and the different sub-events that we had throughout, which was awesome. And we ended up not necessarily hitting our complete goal there, but it was a great experiment to see that by showing the effort that people put in after the fact, others from the community that got to experiment from it actually got to benefit. Moving forward, we would love to figure out how to make this a sustainably funded effort, not necessarily by getting more sponsors and partners, but by seeing how much we can get the community to fund themselves through initiatives like hypercerts and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. It was actually really inspiring. There's real life, and then there's in real life. I have trouble getting away for just maybe 3 or 4 days for a week to do training without work intruding. And you're all leaders in your fields. How did you manage? Did you drop off the face of the earth for 2 months from your friends, or were you all doing half-half? How did you manage the projects that were ongoing?
It was definitely challenging. I think this is where figuring out what this looks like in terms of the contraction and expansion of what and where you work and what you work on, I think is a big piece of this like cultural innovation that we were testing out. In a way, some of the developers that were there, that were working on it, there was someone who did a presentation that really spoke about how he arrived and was like, whoa, how am I going to get any of my normal work done? And within 2 weeks, he had just had ideas and conversations that helped pivot a project that he was working on to solve some big blocks that he had had in just a totally different way than he had expected to. And coming out of it, he's had a lot more support for his project and a ton more just like people testing it out while they were there. So that, in a way, was valuable. So figuring out, it's a different way of working when you're at an event like this, or when you're living in something like this, but figuring out like how that can give value back to the other time that might be heads down, doing research, being more solo, is one that I would love to see more experimentation around.